It's all good to be here with you and see your beautiful faces. And we have just a wonderfully sweet time planned. So,
We've really been looking forward to each and every one of you coming. And I see Mary's connecting to audio, so hopefully she'll be with us soon.
yeah. And Zan was just here and she couldn't get video. So, hi Mary, welcome.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Mary. Good to see you.
Here
You
comes
too.
Zan. And Karen Kramer is on her way into, and Holly. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. We had a bunch of people who want the replay, and yeah, so it's all good. All good. How are you doing, Karen?
Good.
Good. And Holly, hi. And we have Catherine coming in. It's so exciting to see everybody.
Yeah. It's like when you have a party, and you're like opening the door. Look who's
It is because they go
right.
ding dong, you know.
Mhm.
Welcome, Catherine. How are you? All right. So some of you know a little bit more of what we've been up to than others. Most of you are new, but we wanted to create this open house and welcome you in to our Ignite Your Feminine virtual open house where women leaders connect and really start to operate from our feminine and support each other. Before we get started, I wanted to put up a poll, and I hope the poll did remain. I converted this from um, a webinar to a meeting so I could do the breakouts. For some reason, the breakouts weren't working in my webinar. So the first question I have for you, and I'll let Josette in now, is a poll. So please take this poll. What we want to do is just find out where you are with regard to joy. How would you describe the level of joy you experience in your life in general? Um, and it's anonymous, by the way, so we won't know who's answering what. And so as you come in, feel free to take that poll, and then we'll talk about why. All right, everybody's done that. So I don't know if we have an average, but we span the spectrum, right? So the intention for today is to create a space for women leaders who are steeped in wisdom, whatever wisdom you have, we know you have a lot of it, to just let your hair down, to step into this feminine space and practice receiving and become rejuvenated. And I like to say, up our joy. Let's up our joy or up your joy, right? Kind of fun. So I'm going to end the poll because everybody took it. And I want to just set a baseline of when I say feminine, where I'm coming from, and we'll talk more about the feminine in general. So for me, and Zan, you'll appreciate this is kind of a poem, okay? Our poetess here in the bunch. From Cindy as well. I wonder if I can open the poll back. I'm going to relaunch the poll. Um, Relaunch poll will clear. Oh, I don't want to clear the results. Okay. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for coming. I'm just about to share about what is feminine energy from my point of view. Feminine energy is like fire. It can warm you up, creating an intimate atmosphere. It creates light, produces heat. It's a powerful energy. It is transformative. Whereas fire turns solid into liquid and raw into cooked, the feminine is a state-changing energy. Like fire, the divine feminine is sometimes associated with magic. It turns dark spaces into light. It can be dangerous. It can be mesmerizing and luring. It can burn, destroy, It can be sacred and revered. When mishandled, misunderstood, it can rage out of control. When focused, honored, given conscious attention and channeled appropriately, it can be a divine healing, connecting force. This is the power of the feminine. So, with that introduction to my definition of feminine, I thought, Vasi, and welcome in to those of you who just joined us, Janice and Linda and Cindy. Vasi, and we'll introduce ourselves in a moment, but Vasi is going to center us.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that, Laura. And it's Laura read that to me last week, and it just lit me on fire. So if you didn't get a chance to hear the whole reading, if you came in a little late, maybe Laura, you could paste it into the chat for people to read it because it's so powerful. And so I just want to presence all of us right now to enter this space and this experience together from just a juicy, juicy place. So I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable and you're not driving, and putting your feet on the ground. And let's take a deep breath in. And then on the out breath, you can even sigh, just letting go of anything that you're bringing with you from your day, any tightness in your body, just letting go, and allowing yourself to just be here fully. And the next breath, breathing in your favorite color into your heart. If you'd like to put a hand over your heart, just feel your heartbeat. And on the out breath, just letting go of anything that might be weighing on your heart. We have so much going on in the world, in our communities, our families. If there's anything you brought with you today, just know that you can set it aside during this time and just completely be here for yourself and filling yourself up. And then I invite you just to feel within the whole of your body, your being, and see, is there a place where you feel your feminine power? So that fire inside of you, that fire that Laura spoke about, where is that in your body? Is there a place? And just kind of ask your body that, or just sense where it is. And from that place, just take a few deep breaths and imagine that feminine energy that's within you, it's within all of us, is expanding and growing brighter, not just bigger, but brighter. And in this space, you are completely safe and comfortable and at peace. And at the same time, just so present moment, just being in this precious moment right now. And if you haven't already set an intention for yourself today, so why you came to be here today, just feel into your heart and see what brings you here today. And acknowledge that for yourself. And I celebrate each one of you making time to show up. I know your energy and your time is precious. So thank you for showing up today and being with us. And then just allow that intention within you just to settle in. And it is so. So your intention. And at the same time, let go of your intention for something even greater, perhaps. Something even better that you may not know right now to come in and for you to experience today. So with that, I'm setting the intention for us to celebrate our feminine power, to share our wisdom, and to connect, and to experience that silo to synergy energy that Laura's going to talk a little bit about. And so when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Sometimes I invite people to rub your ears and come back to this place, this space of igniting your feminine. Laura?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vasi. You know, it's just taking those 3 minutes to center ourselves makes all the difference. And welcome, Tanya. Glad you're here. So we're going to do some interacting. And before we do that, thought we would introduce ourselves to you and properly, because we haven't done that yet. So Vasi, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Sure, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Vasi Pantelis. And sometimes people go, what's Vasi? Well, it's actually short for Vasiliki, which is Greek. So it's just easier to say that. But you're welcome to call me Vasiliki if you'd like. I'm here in San Diego, and I'm also here because this is the time for women. This is the time for all of us to really to bring our gifts, to bring our wisdom, and to come together in really to uplift the world in so many ways and to create a different way of being and to really bring a new joy into our lives. And I know some of you, but I have the sense that all of you are givers. You give in your communities, you care for others, you care for your clients, your families. And so it's also important to create space for us to be together as women. So let's see, what feels important in this moment to share with you. I've always loved being in circles of women, and I've loved being a connector and to really have people understand that we're all master creators. And whether that's in our lives or our businesses or our careers or whatever that looks like. And so I'm a intuitive artist. In fact, one of my paintings is behind me. I'll share more when we close tonight, and I'll tell you what that's the energy of. I've also work at a level of subconscious belief clearing. So I work with people on clearing subconscious beliefs so that they can just clear anything out of the way of who they really are. And so I've been in this space for about over 20 years. And Laura and I connected, I don't know when we connected, Laura. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And so we've been in this conversation of being in your feminine power and what that looks like. So it's my joy today to be here with you and to see all of us here in our feminine power.
Yay. And Vasi's just an amazing soul. And right now she's clearing our beliefs as we speak. So, and I don't even want to call it beliefs. You're clearing the blocks. You know, I think belief clearing is overused and it means different things to different people, but you really make a smooth path for people to get where they want to go. So I'm Laura Rubenstein, and many of you know me as a marketing and digital media strategist. And I do that part of my life is a creative part, and I love working with people there. But for the past, I'd say 24 years, almost 25 now, 25, let's give it 25 in November, I've been consciously exploring feminine power. So in the late 90s, this concept emerged as a valuable place to understand because I didn't feel very feminine. I didn't know there was any value to it. I probably even beat myself up for being anywhere remotely near that. And then I did a 180 on that conversation and have been exploring it. In 2007, I published a deck of feminine power cards, which you see in the background here. And these are that. I picked a card for us today. They have feminine power principles and practices because when I was in corporate America, I wanted something that would get me back to center because using this masculine energy in overdrive is exhausting. It's not that we shouldn't use it. It's that we are not enough integrating our masculine and feminine a lot of times, or at least I wasn't. I didn't even know it. So I was in overdrive with my masculine. And then it came to, in the last 20 years, lots of people are talking about feminine energy now. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Now I can connect with other women leaders and do this. And ever since, actually, before I consciously was studying or exploring, I like to say, feminine energy, I was hosting gatherings for women in the 90s. And then in the early 2000s, I was leading soul collage facilitations, and I had a whole website, it's still up, called Women in Joy, and we did different gatherings, and it's all about women connecting because there's a power there. There's a real big power in us collaborating. And then Vasi and I were on a hike about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe just before the pandemic. And I said I wanted to do these retreats. And she was like, that's a great idea. And this word spalicious came to mind. They should be nurturing and where there's no have do's and there's no, it's not the masculine retreats you're looking, or conferences you go to, but there's something that really fosters something to happen innately and immediately without a lot of masculine go do drive. So we are going to share what we are doing with that at the end of today. And we're going to explore feminine power during today. I already shared my definition. And for those of you who just came in, my definition is not yours. It's just mine. And it offers you some place to just know is one, one explanation of what is feminine energy. And so I just put it in the chat. It's a paragraph long, so you can read that and see what resonates for you. But in today's day and age, women have an important role to play in healing our planet, our communities, creating a shift in the world. But, it's got to start with our own lives and making a priority of our happiness, our joy, so that we can have the bigger impact we want, and focusing and with an intention to have that impact. So Vasi, do you want to share a little bit more about that and where we're going next?
Yeah. So, like Laura, I also came from a corporate environment. And so there was that sense of the permission I gave myself to, be in my feminine energy. And what I wanted to share about that was when I started my own business years ago, I discovered that I was my worst boss because the way sort of my weakness and regular work, I brought that into my own business. And so that's when I started 20 years ago to look into feminine energy and really how can I be in that, not just be in women's circles or be with other women, but how could I bring that into every aspect of my life so there was a balance. And so what I began to discover for myself is it really had to do with a place of being very connected to myself and being very in tune with my body, with my mind, with my soul, with my heart. And from that place, I could embody feminine energy, not just do self-care, but actually be in self-love and be able to give that to myself because that made it overflow, right? And be able to give that to others. So that's kind of my long definition of feminine energy and how important it is to have that connection with ourselves. And it's both nurturing and energizing. That's what I found. It's that balance.
And then there's this concept of doing it alone versus doing it in synergy. We have these great visions as women. You all are up to something in the world. What would be possible if we went from a silo to synergy? So what I want to know right now in this poll is, how often do you feel like you're operating in a silo? So take this poll, whether you do things on your own all the time, you rarely, but maybe sometimes ask for support, or maybe about half the time, 50-50, you ask for support and not even support, but you feel like you're doing it with other people. Or maybe you have a community or a team, or you feel 100% supported with your community at hand that you have. Okay. Nice. And welcome into Tanya. Thanks for being here. We're going to be doing some interaction in just a few. Now we're about, I'll publish the results when I think there's one more person who might want to take it.
To see. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll give you one more second to fill out that one more minute. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll now and share the results. Dun, dun, dun. Can you see the results? What are you seeing? Okay. So 20, 30, 40, 45%, 44% are either rarely operating or more or often operating alone, silo. And then everybody else either is about half the time or to full time. So that's pretty interesting, right? I just, just get a baseline of this is where women are at, especially women leaders. We might even be better than a lot of the general population of women out there that are not as intentional as this group. And women leaders, I do find, are operating generally in silos. They might have their little communities of their team members, but they're still in some sort of a little orbit, which is there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. And there's just what it is. And our intention is to provide a playground for opening that and for more synergy to happen, making it easier to accomplish our intentions, dream together, and be of support. And it may just be energetic, but letting you know you always have someone who has what I like to call, who has your heart, no matter what happens. Oh, is there anything
I remember when Laura first shared that with me. She's like, you know how people say when someone has your back? She said it's about having each other's heart. And there was something about that to me that just resonated, because there's, dreams are tender, our visions are tender, there's a way to hold them. And a lot of times people may not understand. And so to have that sort of synergy with others where we get to witness each other's, dreams. Yeah.
So the next thing I want to do is actually, I promised you I'd pull a card, and I pre-pulled it because intentionally didn't do the random thing, because this is what today is all about. When women gather, the world changes. And by the way, this deck it has 52 cards, so 52 principles, and then 52 practices. And they're endorsed by John Gray, the guy who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. So that's my claim to fame. And the practice for when women gather, the world changes. And I wrote a whole chapter of this in Voices of the 21st Century, by the way, for those of you who are authors in that book and or know of that book, about a day. And actually, Cindy Schulson, who's on the call today, I think she's still here, you're kind of mentioned it. It was I talked about a day we got together, not just you and I, but you and I and our little posse. So you might want to read that chapter, or I can get it for you. It was in the Voices of the 21st Century. I have to remember the subtitle of the book that story was in, but the practice is reach out to your like-minded friends, women friends, and that's where that synergy can start happening. So what I want to do is, I'm going to take us off spotlight and have us go around, and each of us say your name and share a thought or an experience about the value of gathering with women that there has been for you. Is that all right? And we're going to welcome in Rena, who's my sister. All right. So Bridget, you're at the top of my screen. Would you mind sharing first?
Hello, I'm Bridget Stills, and I'm, as you know, I'm from Sydney, Australia. My feminine environment has only just come to play in the last few years. Being in an industry that was male dominated for so long, I worked with men most of my life. So it was only the last few years when I actually became involved with different meetings that entailed a lot of women that I actually enjoyed the company and got to know what femininity was more or less about in relation to your work experience.
Absolutely. Powerful. And Jackie, and then Dr. Karen.
Yeah, hi. Like Bridget, I had a long career in a male-dominated world, And I too came around to this experience in more of a feminine energy when I started all my training. Oh gosh, whatever it's been now, a number of years ago, around my coaching training, and we had uh, pods of women that we gathered with regularly that really helped me come out of that isolated experience, which was really a real masculine focus into now I'm in community every day with women in community where we're gathering and creating and just holding space for each other to really cultivate and create, that which we're here to do. But having the support and sponsorship from other women is like nothing else. I can't imagine that life again. Like it's gone. It's the old life is gone.
Hmm.
So
Interesting. All right. And welcome in, Rena. And for those of you who can't talk right now, you're welcome to share your answer to this, which is basically say your name and share a thought or experience about the power or the value of women gathering with women. So, Karen, would you like to go next?
Sure. Coming from the corporate world, I recall some research associated with breaking the glass ceiling and working in the corporate world. For women specifically, it was power, rewards, and support that were significantly different. How we operate in that, for example, power for us is significantly different than it is for men, for example. So taking that into the work that I'm doing now, yes, as coaches, as it sounds like some of us are, is a way in which we interact with women, like even talking about being assertive or aggressive or taking power, those type of things it means something different in different aspects of our life. So what does it mean as, say, a mother? What does it mean in the corporate world, etc.? So bringing together women, it's powerful to really connect in. And thank you, Fossey, tying in your grounding that you did when we started. Is that's something different that you wouldn't find in a typical group of men. So just connecting with our hearts. One of the values, especially working on a book around grief and grief recovery, is we as women have the opportunity to be able to connect with other women from our heart space, being more vulnerable, being more open, which also helps us through the grief process. Much different within men because they don't have traditionally in society, it's not as acceptable to be as open and vulnerable. So that's another thing that I found that is different between men and women. So it's a benefit for us as women.
Indeed.
So that's just some things that came to mind. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Vasi.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Matab just told me she has to leave. Do you want to pop in and say hi? Great to see you, Matab.
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I just have to drop off at 4:30, but I did want to just say hello to everyone and nice to meet you all. I know Laura, but I don't know anyone else here. So what do I want to do? Share an experience that with women and why I get involved with women. Is that it? Let's see.
Yeah. The value of it.
The value of gathering with women. Yeah, it's infinite. It's endless, right? We just we think differently. We share differently. We have each other's backs, right? It's so different than being in the company of men, right? And my background, I'm an engineer, so I've always been in a male dominated industry, even as either as an engineer or as a leader. Yeah, so I do value the community of women, and that's why I'm here to see where this goes next. So
great. So we will send you the replay for sure, because I think you'll be very interested.
All right, great. Thank you.
And you're also welcome to say where you're tuning in from if you like. I know, Bridget, you're in Sydney, Australia. And Jackie, where are you?
I'm on the Oregon coast.
Oh, beautiful. And Karen,
Sunny San Diego or
or not so sunny?
Sorry.
Well, today it's kind of half sunny. And okay, Zan, why don't you share next? And then I'll go to Holly.
Hey, everybody. I'm tuning in from Westminster, Colorado, and I'm a poet and author. I retired many years ago as an HR leader. My mentors were always men, but I grew up in a house full of sisters with two brothers. So women, are just prominent in my life. I feel like women are life, we create life. So there's so much power in who we are, period. In 2020, I joined the Women Speakers Association. I have to put a plug in for that organization, Laura, because that organization, I walk away now saying women need other women. That organization changed my life and my plans for my life as a retiree. So because the support is so overwhelming, it's so powerful, it's hard to put it into words. The energy that we have together is just so powerful. That's my experience with having women support me, change me. My outlook on the world is different. My actions are different. I can't say it enough. Women need other women.
Yes. And if you're feeling like you can't put it into words, that's very feminine. Sometimes we can't put
right, thank you.
We feel
and I'm a
it.
writer. If I can't put it into words, that says a lot.
And at some point it may come into words, and that's okay too. Thanks. Holly, hi.
So I'm Holly. I'm in Central Texas in Fredericksburg. We were hoping to get some rain this week, and I'm jealous of San Diego in Southern California. I spend a lot of time with men and in the masculine energy running a business, and I know that when I get together with women, my energy shifts, and that's the real value for me, is that bringing that energy and outlook into what I'm doing and who I'm being mostly, and really trying to incorporate into my work that energy as well.
Yep.
So
Yep. And that's what we can support each other in doing. I mean, that's why we're here. Catherine, hi. So good to see you.
Hello. I am not in San Diego any longer, but I miss San Diego. Especially after I don't even know what day over 100 degrees, because I too am in Texas, although a little further north than Holly. I am in Fort Worth. I miss San Diego. I guess for me, like in my corporate, and I do think this is clouded by childhood experience as well, but in my corporate career, like there were no women that could be trusted. Like women bosses felt competitive. I was in a very male dominated industry. And so I had great male mentors, and I didn't really trust women to like have my back. And it wasn't until I left corporate and had my own business, and even early on, a lot of the mentors I chose were men, just kind of naturally. And then I got very lucky and got some female mentors. We had our mastermind when I still lived in San Diego. And I'm just like, I'm still in that journey of truly finding an amazing, I have some amazing women in my life, but the community aspect is the piece that I'm still working on.
Welcome in. All of these women are amazing, including you. So thank you. I see Josette and then Karen, and then I'll say what I see on the screen here.
Hi, I'm Josette, and I'm in San Diego. I would say that the thing that I notice the most when I'm in community with other women is you can always tell when some women are still coming from that more heavier masculine perspective. And as you gather, you start to see a lot of that sort of just fade back. It sort of falls away a lot. And I think that that's why it's so important for us as women to be in community with each other, because we all help remind one another that in our feminine, we're allowed to just be.
Amen. Yes. Yes. I will tell you, before I started gathering with women consciously in the feminine, my mentor called me an ice queen. I'm not proud of that, but that was many moons ago.
That's okay.
Karen.
Hi everyone. So I'm Karen from Adelaide, and it's morning here. So good morning to everyone. I guess I had a really transforming moment just a few weeks ago. So I am a victim survivor of domestic violence, and while I had people who wanted to support me, I had to operate as a silo for most of it because I was too afraid my abuser would actually harm them. And I was recently speaking at a graduation ceremony for victim survivors as their mentor. And all of a sudden, I had all of these women in the room shaking their heads like they got it, they understood it, without me even having to say too many words in a sentence. And that was very transformative and kind of gave me tingles.
Yes, that's a great example of the power of gathering with women. Linda, and then Lucia and Mary.
Hi there, I'm from San Diego, and it is lovely, but we didn't have that much rain. So everyone's talked about our rain. I find that when I gather with other women, we speak to the heart really quickly, and we speak of things of the heart. And probably the other thing I'd add is some people tend to say that women can be emotional. I think women speak of emotion, but not necessarily are emotional. And that's a really big difference.
Oh, good distinction. I love it. Go ahead, Lucia.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lucia Murphy. My clients call me Dr. Murph. I'm a recent transplant into North Carolina, and that's where I'm calling from tonight. My whole life has been kind of turned on its head. We moved here maybe 8 weeks ago from Pennsylvania. Then 3 weeks later, my son got married in Italy. Then this Saturday, my daughter gets married in Chicago. It's crazy. So this is new to me. I'm one of you, like many of you, corporate types. And the first suits that we wore, we had to wear the cat in the hat ties, back in the day, because do you know what I'm talking about? Those god awful. Yes. Because we had to emulate even the accessorizing of the men. Interesting, Vasi. Thank you very much for your centering. I would say there's a sparkle of femininity, of my feminine side, really deep inside. I had the great honor of working with the Feminine Power group over the summer, and I didn't even recognize that it was there. So I've spent a lifetime, or a good part of my lifetime, denying my femininity, and it's kind of nice to let my hair down, although I don't have much of it anymore. But it's nice to psychologically let my hair down. So thank you for creating a safe environment, and I'll pass the baton.
Lovely. Mary, and then Janet and Tanya.
Hello, nice to be here today. So it's been fun hearing everyone's stories, which I can resonate with their different experiences. The one I wanted to share is a group of Montessori moms. That's what we call our Montessori moms group. We all had children about the same time, and we all had to send our kids to daycare because we were working professionals. So we sent them to this Montessori school in Orange County where we live, and we really became this close-knit group of diverse women in different professions who built an incredible trust. I mean, the trust which would be reflected in the fact that we would leave our tiny children with any of these women at any time and know they were going to be okay. We did babysitting nights on Saturday nights where they'd go house to house. So that was pretty wonderful experience. So I would say just that feeling of absolute trust with that particular group.
That's a lovely experience. Thanks for sharing. Janet, hi.
Hey, so I'm calling in from Montclair, New Jersey. And so I'm just remembering and have been remembering when I was married and when I was a single parent, and you know, the consciousness raising groups that I was involved in. We met regularly. We had adventures together. We played volleyball together. I mean, we did a lot of things together. And there was no question that we, in those changing times, were support for each other in those transition times where things were really changing for women. And but then, as a more mature person, I went to law school, and as has already been said, often women in the professions can be pretty competitive, and that mistrust and that sort of biting stuff goes on. And so since then, since, you know, I had this professional career, not that I wasn't working before, but the opportunities, and as I age, the opportunities to gather with women just are more and more difficult to find and to gather. So yeah, this is great to be together tonight. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. Makes a huge difference. That's great. So then we'll hear from Tanya, Rena, and welcome and joy. Go for it, Tanya.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Tanya. I'm right now in San Diego, and yeah, I mean, I discovered the joy of being with women like 20 years ago, and I loved it so much. I've made it like my life's work, and I also do a lot of circles with women and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of what everyone has described already. Yeah, thank
Lovely.
you.
Well, thank you for being here and showing up, because I am just in love with all the women here. So if you don't know each other and you want to, oh, you are amazing. Hi, Rena.
Hi, sister. Laura's my sister. I'm very lucky, and she's probably one of the primary reasons why I have learned to embrace femininity. I can't even say it. And I'm excited, Erin, that you're from Adelaide. I've spent time there. It's wonderful. I think more recently I have come to appreciate my friends who are in the feminine, and I'm struggling a little bit with to ensure that my language is inclusive, because I have more recently become friends with a person who I've never met, who has somehow found me, probably because of my inclusiveness, and has confided in me that they're born of a male gender but identify as female, and probably those qualities that we're talking about, they long for and identify with. And so I think there's something with maybe the identification of that longing that's missed for them. So I definitely appreciate my female friends and other friends who identify as more feminine.
Right.
And so that's been bringing me joy.
Cool. Thank you. And speaking of joy, hi, Joy.
Everybody, I am Joy. I am too in San Diego, so that was nice, even though we just had our first tropical storm. So yeah, that was interesting. I would say my experience or value with gathering with women, and especially more now, is really just being able to be my authentic self. So I'm walking away from corporate America, and as I share and spend more time with women, it has been so rewarding and just reassuring for my next steps that I've taken in writing books, in my own business, and really leaning in on helping and making sure women have that joy and that success. But then I can peel back my layers and still be authentic with other women without holding up this corporate barrier. So it's been very rewarding.
Wonderful. We're so glad you're here. And I
Thank
just
you
want
for
to,
having me as well.
yeah. I just wanted to read what Janice put in recently. She had some dental surgery, so she's not going to talk, and we honor that, and we send you healing energy, Janice. And Janice Foley is a photographer. And do you want to introduce her, Botsy? Because you had some more interaction with her.
Yeah. Janice is an amazing photographer and a beautiful soul. And you'll hear a little bit more at the end. She's going to be our retreat photographer for those of you that want additional photos. But Janice has said that she's used to be in a very male-dominated field. And I know Janice has had a camera in her hand since age 10, she shared with me, and did other work, and then got to live her dream of being a photographer. So she said one of the things that's helped her the last few years is she belongs to a group called San Diego Women in Photography. And these women all support each other in their business and personal needs.
Wonderful.
So that just sounds amazing, Janice. Thank you for sharing that with us.
That's great. And if Cindy, you are in a place where you can share, you're welcome to, but I know you're in a place you can't share. So Cindy's an amazing human too, and I told you she was in my story. So I think what we want to do now is to actually have you meet each other in breakouts, and being with women gives us permission to consciously explore feminine energy and the power of the feminine. And so we wanted to have you kind of talk about that how everyone, and quite frankly, everyone defines feminine power in their own way. And if you have a way that you are exploring or you feel like you identify with it, then that's you're welcome to either put it in the chat or raise your hand, and you can share about this word. I think some of you did share about that you hadn't been consciously. All right, Cindy. Yeah, we'd love to have you watch the recording or stay on it live if you want. But yeah. So does anybody have a definition of feminine power that comes to mind that you'd like to share off the top of your head?
And I know we heard some of them kind of subtly or implicit as you were sharing about the value of gathering too. So if you want to tease that out a little bit more, we'd love to hear.
And if something comes to you, just pop it in the chat, just because we want your voice to be heard. But I wanted to put everybody in breakouts where you can, with 2 to 3 people in a breakout, and you could either talk about that, or we have a couple of questions for you. What comes to mind when you tap into the energy of feminine power? When do you find yourself in feminine power? And what does that feel like? Like, let's nuance that out a little bit. And I'm going to set up some breakouts while you all are contemplating those questions. And or if you have a question, you can certainly ask.
So we'll give you, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, Laura, but we'll give you each about 5 minutes per person. So let's see, do we have an even number, Laura?
We do. So,
okay.
But so we do two in a room or 4 in a room? Or 3 in a room, but then it won't be even.
I'm feeling 2.
Okay. All right, so 2 for 5 minutes, so 2 minutes each plus, what are we doing? And this is scheduled to go, we're probably going to go to about 5:15, 7:15 your time, Holly, if that's okay. All right, so we'll do 5 minutes here, and let's see. No, that wasn't it. Let's try that again. I did it the wrong. Let's say recreate. We're going to do, if we have 14 people, that means we're going to have 7 rooms. Okay. All right. On your mark, get set, go. And I think
you want to pause the recording.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Anyway, we really enjoyed it. Of course, just so you know, Laura, Rena sang your praises. So you shouldn't be surprised.
Bless you, bless you.
Yeah, what we really definitely, I think connected on how we've worked with other women in the past, and so that was good. It was a nice connection.
It does sound nice. Wonderful. Thank you, Mary, sharing that. Who else has something about maybe that surprised them or shifted for them in this conversation? Oh, Lucia, thank you.
I had the pleasure of being able to talk to Janet, and we talked about how sometimes with work and school and fill in the blanks, it's very easy to let our relationships with other women evaporate, and how it has to be an intentional thing. It has to be something that, and we never got to the point of deciding if it was something that you purposely build, or if it's something that you create the space for it to appear. But when it doesn't come naturally, and I wave my quotation fingers, from things like motherhood or marriage or all the things that you would think that society tells you what defines a female, and it's not that. It's something else. So I was Janet's brilliant. I really got a lot from our conversation. So thank you, Janet.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, Lucia, and Janet for being part of that conversation. And you brought up something, you used the word intentional, and that's where, Laura and I are going to share more about being able to cultivate a space where you can play in the feminine. And that's what we're all about. And that's, you said, is it just that? And it's like, I was getting it's both and, right? So it's like consciously creating that space for women to be together and being intentional about it. And so I know, many of you have groups of women that you maybe connect with and you feel a sense of community, and maybe others of you don't. And what Laura and I would like to share with you right now is a way to come into this intentional, conscious space of exploring the feminine. So, Laura?
Yes. And it's not just about, okay, it's nice to do it. It's important for our souls and for our planet. This is the level where I really feel like why I'm putting energy into this. And plus, I love connecting amazing women together. Vasi and I were talking when we were in breakouts, like we quickly took a glance at who was meeting with who, and we're like, oh my God, I couldn't have been better pairing. It's like, wow. Sometimes when you just trust, it all works out, right? So welcome in powerful women leaders. I am so excited about what Vasi and I have put together. We're calling it the Spalicious Retreat. This is the second one, and dear Holly, who's here, hosted our first one at her enchanted Fredericksburg Ranch back in March. So that was our beta, and it was brilliant. And what we learned is that each of our Spalicious retreats are going to be unique and precious. They're going to be slightly different, and that's what I love. So the next one coming up is September 22nd. And here's what you're invited for a time of nurturing, where we are going to have it be about, well, it'll naturally evolve into bringing forth more joy, connecting with your soul. It's like, we women leaders, we're up to things in the world, but if we don't take time to connect with our soul, we get depleted. So it's going to be a time to rejuvenate yourself, and then do that in connection with other women leaders who are up to something. The other thing we do as women is we have all this wisdom, and we don't have places where we share that with other that can make an impact. So I want to create, Vasi and I are creating this space where you will share wisdom with each other and foster your passion and tap into your creative essence. And the 2 pictures on the bottom are from our last retreat. And the 2 pictures above that are where we're hosting our next retreat in La Jolla at a wonderful home. And we will go for walks on these beaches that you see as well. So,
and Laura, can I add one more thing here?
Yeah.
So, there's also a sense of play that comes into this weekend together. And so all these things are wonderful and juicy, and it's also a chance to play with each other and play with other amazing women. So I just wanted to underscore the play.
And we have some playful things planned, that for women who like these kinds of play. But yes, and it's really like what I like to call the unretreat retreat, because it's not long hours. It's going to be luxuriating with a cooking class and a sound bath, right? We'll do some circles, wisdom sharing circles, and you'll get to do something called soul collage. And that's a transformative and intuitive collage process where you basically get to have your soul create a collage. And then we're going to do that in groups and do something a little different, Holly, than we did at your place. And Vasi, maybe you can tell us about your Enlighten Me box.
Yes, I will share this with you. So this is what it is. And it's a way, oops, it looks like I froze.
I'm spotlighting you. Yeah.
Okay, great. And this is a way to more quickly connect with your higher self. And it also clears super quickly. And I'm one of about 11 people in the world that are certified to use this. It was invented by a friend and colleague of mine in Australia last fall. And I've just had amazing experiences with myself. I can't tell you the amazing clearings and manifestations I've had supporting me, because it really helps you connect to your higher self more quickly. So, and using this with clients, I'm an intuitive coach and a mindset mentor, so it's come in handy. So I will be doing this at the retreat. I'll be doing 15-minute individual sessions. So if anyone that wants them, it's included in the retreat price. And then I'll also be doing it for us as a group. So you can get the most, what do I want to say, the most expansive experience doing the soul collage or relaxing or whatever it is. It just opens you more to your feminine energy.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. And like she said, it's optional, but there are lots of gifts coming your way. This is about, I talked about it being a time to receive and also to give, but mostly you'll be able to practice that receiving. And we'll do some movement and optional beach walks, guided relaxations, and a gift of the Feminine Power Card deck. Even if you have one, you can then give one away. You'll get one, and you can add on a photo shoot with Janice, who was here earlier. So those are some of this is just a taste. And it's amazing what evolves and what gets created in the space when creative women and powerful, like-minded women get together. So here are the logistics that you need to know. We'll be meeting starting September 22nd at about 5:30 in the evening for our cooking class and, get to know you time. And then that's a Friday evening in La Jolla. And then we'll come back on Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you have something to do in the morning, or, you come when you can, basically. And then we go to about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then we'll come back at 10 in the morning on Sunday and complete it too. So it's a really easy schedule. You can work things in. There's no have to if you need to. So we're only, for the 3 days and all these experiences and gifts, we're pricing it really reasonably. for $397, and the price will go up after next Monday. So not too much, but might as well get your discount if you're planning on joining us. And we only have certain number of spots available. We'll do other things too. Oh, also, I didn't mention that included in this is the play shop, the 6-week virtual play shop called Ignite Your Feminine Soul. So we'll be coming back together. And that's what Lucia was saying. She had joined us on the journey. And I know Holly was there too. And Rena has not been on it. Sorry. Rena's coming on it though. And then you're welcome to invite your friends as long as we have space. So we do have some accommodations available. This is not included in the price. But since a lot of people will be in San Diego, you just go home for the night. And if you are coming in from out of town, we have some spots available.
And Lucia asked about the closest airport, and that would be San Diego Airport.
It's about 20 minutes from San Diego by an Uber ride. Pretty easy, 15 to 20. It's very easy. Any other questions? So if you want to take a look at the page about it, igniteyourfeminine.com, or you can scan the QR code to reserve your spot right away. And yeah.
And I would just add to that I know a lot of times women say, I'm too busy, or I'm too busy. And what I found is such a wonderful way to experience a retreat is to invite a friend, like come with a friend that maybe you haven't spent much time with or you're really missing. And so that you can, have a shared experience. I mean, you'll be connecting with other women, but that's just kind of something people have found because they're so busy and they can bring friends. So I just wanted to see that. And
Holly, did you want to say what your experience was like at the last retreat?
Yeah, sure. I was just saying I wish I'd known before I booked my trip to San Diego in a couple of weeks that this was happening, because I would definitely be there. We had a really small group and it was lovely. Laura led us through several different exercises, and we had time to write and contemplate and be quiet. We had somebody come in and do the cooking class, which was a lot of fun. We got to cook together as the introduction and kind of meeting each other. So I think when people cook together, there's another level of connection on with the hands and the creation. And I just found it to be so valuable. The women that I met that I didn't know before, I'm still in touch with. And then the follow-on 6-week play shop that Lucia joined for that was really fantastic. So I think it helped extend that period. And for me, I would like to do a boost every 6 months or so
and we're gonna do that.
Yeah. So I really encourage everybody to, if the dates work and the money's not going to be an obstacle, I would highly recommend it. And I didn't really know what to expect when Laura was kind of telling me about it, but I knew that what she was saying was something I needed. And so I kind of just trusted and went for it. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah, it came at the right time. And so it's the right timing. And Lucia, did you want to say something about the 6-week?
I came in as a stranger and left as a friend, which is very not masculine. So I thank my sisters who were on that call, all of them. Thank you. It was amazing.
And so my vision that I was sharing with Vasi and some of you individually was that, I started talking about we're in our little orbits, right? Doing our thing with our little communities. And what happens when we have our visions or our heart's desires and we come together with our orbits, we create like a solar system with this magnetic pull where we can all empower each other just energetically. And that no matter, Holly, now where you go in the world, or Lucia, whatever you're up to in the world, you've had this you have this connection. It's ongoing. It doesn't go away just because our class ended, right? Our play shop ended. We have your back. We have your heart. You know, I was telling somebody, I was thinking about one of the women at the retreat the other day and her vision to have a retreat center. And so I'm just putting energy on it, and she doesn't know it perhaps, but energetically it's out there for her. If she needs that, I have her heart, you know, and that's what we do for each other as women. And that's the community that once you come to a retreat or step into the play shop, and yes, there is a way to do the play shop first and then come to the next retreat if you want. You know, I would say get this deal now and we'll apply it to the next play shop. So, I mean, to the next retreat if you want. So no guarantees it's going to be in La Jolla, though. You might have to travel. But we probably will have some more back here in San Diego because that's where Vasi and I are. And any other questions? I didn't see if there were questions in the chat. Oh yeah, Janet Sawyer lives in Colorado. Yes, please share this with her. I didn't have a chance to put it out to everybody I wanted to, and she definitely came to mind. I was like, I gotta send to Janet. And thank you, Zan, for showing up. And yes, please do. And hope you'll come and play with us. So,
Is it
Vasi has,
okay? I'm
yeah,
sorry. Is it okay for me to tell friends of mine that live in San Diego about the
yes,
retreat, or even
Is-
though I'm not going to be able to be there?
sure, absolutely. Have them email me. We can either set up a time to chat with them, or we can send them the replay link to this.
Okay.
So yeah, either way or both. And yeah, so if there's people you know of, we would love to, as long as we have room. And if we have an overflow, then we'll have another retreat. That's all.
Okay.
Sooner than later. Mhm.
And I would just say, trust your intuition, right? That's also part of our feminine power. So if you're guided to share it with someone, yeah, feel free. And if you're guided to join us, we'd love to have you. And in any case, you know, thank you, each and every one of you, for coming, because we'll never be together in this configuration again, but yet we've benefited from each other, and we're taking something really magical and special with us from connecting with each other. So if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out to Laura or myself. And I think we're ready to close. Okay, Laura?
I do.
Okay. So speaking of being guided, I was guided last year to do 100 days of intuitive painting. And I never thought I would do it, but I tune in every once in a while, and one of these paintings will be in just perfect representation. So today's painting that was chosen was this one right here, and it's called Rising in Love. And so I never know what I'm painting, and then I write about it afterwards. So this is what I wrote about after this painting. It's about celebrating the feminine power within each of us. It's all the ways we have offered our love to the world. Feminine power is the expression of love, caring, compassion, and many other things. Each day gives us an opportunity to deepen both our self-love and our offering of love to the world. Enjoy the love rising up in you and out through the world. That's what we want to offer as we close out today. Thank you for being that love that you're offering up into the world.
And we have your heart. So we'll stay in touch. We'll send out the replay, and we'll just stay in touch with us. It's like so hard to leave, isn't it?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.